we are supporting the mothers in Japan who are very, very concerned about their children and who want to stop the government's plan, the government of Japan's plan to burn radioactive rubble from the tsunami and earthquake. There's millions of tons of it, and they are planning to spread it around Japan and burn it. We're already getting fallout from the Fukushima disaster, and this would increase our fallout here too. So we're very, very worried for the people of Japan, and also want to stop this insanity, this nuclear insanity. So we're taking a petition to the Consul General of Japan here in San Francisco, signed by thousands of people.
Signed by nearly 10,000 people.
10,000.
This is the petition that we're taking to the consulate. These are signatures that have been gathered from all over the world, started by a group of concerned mothers in Japan, and then it spread. And this petition has already been presented to the Japanese consulate in New York and in London and other locations as well. We're all doing this in an effort of solidarity with the women who are trying to draw attention to this issue in Japan. This is the petition that we're going to give to the Japanese consulate. It's nearly 10,000 signatures from people all over the world.
I want to get this piece of rock off of here.
I will escort you to our office.
I know, if there ever was an anti-nuclear candidate for Congress, he's it. That's what I told him.
We're here to present a petition to the Consul General of Japan in San Francisco that it has been signed by nearly 10,000 people from all over the world to ask the Japanese government to please stop the incineration of millions of tons of radioactive debris from the tsunami and the earthquake that became contaminated then from the fallout from Fukushima Daiichi. And the plan is to move it around throughout Japan to share the pain. That's what the government has been quoted as saying, to share the pain of Fukushima. Well, that would spread the disease of radiation throughout Japan, and the incineration could also put more of that deadly radiation into the jet stream, where we, throughout the world, and particularly here in the West Coast, have already received fallout.
So you said there's people from all over the world that have signed this. So the potential for everybody all over the world, they potentially could be affected by this fallout. Is that correct?
That's correct. For instance, Bianca Jagger presented in London to the embassy there, the Japanese embassy there. Colleagues in New York have presented it, in Tokyo, in Washington, D.C. Our allies in the Fukushima Fallout Awareness Network presented it in Japan, in Washington, D.C. And we're working together with the Nuclear Information Resource Service, NIRS, out of D.C., as well as Beyond Nuclear from Washington, D.C., and Citizens for Health, which is a national organization. We're banding together because the media blackout on this has been tremendous, and we're so appreciative of you coming out here today. Because we have, the UC Berkeley School of Nuclear Engineering has been regularly testing for radionuclides on our food and topsoil and water and milk. And elevated levels of cesium-134 and 137 have been detected as recently as October 11th in Bay Area milk. And so they say the nuclear industry and the pro-nuclear advocates are saying, oh, it's just a little bit, it's not a problem. But data shows that chronic exposure to very small amounts of radioactive particles is more harmful per unit dose than a single exposure to one high dose, because your body never can repair itself.
Right. Okay. Anything else that's important that you want to talk about that we didn't mention?
What we'd like to do is what the petition is recommending is to leave the contaminated radioactive rubble where it is on site and evacuate the people and focus on stopping the fires that are ongoing at Fukushima. Those meltdowns are still occurring.
I'm here because I am very concerned about the radiation and it's traveling around the world, and what the action that their Japanese are thinking of will increase it. So we can't let them do that.
We've had 52 close calls since 3 Mile Island in America alone. So we've got to do something, and I think that something is switching over to clean renewables that are safe, have more jobs. Makes sense, right?
We're presenting these yellow flowers during the week of yellow on behalf of Japanese mothers.
And you are with?
The Fukushima Fallout Awareness Network.
We're here at the Japanese consulate in San Francisco to present this petition pleading with the Japanese government to stop this plan to incinerate millions of tons of radioactive rubble that is left from the tsunami and earthquake. The mothers of Japan are so worried. They're so worried for their children, and it's heartbreaking, and we have to stop it. They want to move it all throughout Japan and burn it, and to share the radiation from Fukushima. Share the pain. And it would also spread it into the jet stream more than it already is. We in the West Coast have already received a lot of the fallout, and this could put up even more. We've got to ask them to stop it. Radioactive cesium-134 and 137 has been found in Bay Area milk as recently as October. So we've got to wake up and realize what's happening here with this radioactive fallout from Japan.
I'm here, I'm working on a book about Fukushima and about the fallout that basically affects the entire planet. I don't view it as a local event whatsoever. I view it as a planetary event. I have passed you a fact sheet, I believe. On that fact sheet is information that has not come out in the official press, namely that those reactors are GE manufactured Mark I boiling water reactors. When they were sold to Japan and to the United States, and we have 23 Mark I's here in the United States, when they were sold knowing that they were defective and that they would fail, that their container would fail. And we know that because 3 design engineers on the design team at General Electric quit rather than collaborate with a design that they were convinced would eventually fail if it were challenged. One of those engineers is Dale Bryden-Bow. He called the Mark I boiling water reactor 10 pounds of energy in a 5-pound sack. So this is not just a Japanese event. This is an event in which there has been collaboration, essentially of corporations and of governmental elites, both in Japan and the United States. And that is why the encampments are beginning to form in the United States of the 99%. because corporations basically have made decisions that affect all of mankind. 200,000 people in the exclusion zone at Fukushima, and it is far, far from adequate. 20 kilometers is far from adequate in terms of the fallout. But 200,000 people already have lost their homes, their land, their way of life, and they will never be able to go back, not for millions of years, because of the contamination. Fukushima is approximately 100 Chernobyls. The reason for that is that Fukushima has 10,000 pounds of plutonium on site just now as we speak.
Cesium. Plutonium.
Radioactive cheese.
Radioactive cheese for the children.
Thank you. Awesome.
Loud?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Today we're here because we're presenting our petition on behalf of the Japanese mothers, led by Tomoe Davis. Is it Tomoe Davis? And we took our petition up to the Japanese consulate, and we met with Mr. Iwata and expressed our deepest sympathies to the people of Japan about what has happened over there with the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear accident. And we are asking them to not incinerate millions of tons of radioactive rubble and dump the ash into Tokyo Bay. This is what we have heard they have already started doing. We heard they started doing it the last week of October. Here we are into November, 7 months after the nuclear disaster. We know that the first disaster in March was unintentional. However, by burning the millions of tons of radioactive rubble, it's going to provide a brand new humanitarian crisis that we need to stop urgently. So we express our deepest condolences to him and to the people of Japan, but asked to please do the right thing and not burn the radioactive rubble, that it needs to be safely stored and guarded. And that's what we did today. We presented a petition with over 6,000 signatures on behalf of the mothers of Japan, signed by women and other citizens around the world, many of them mothers who are extremely concerned about their health, their children's health, their grandchildren's health. This is transgenerational DNA damage that's passed well into the future, and we need to stop it now.
And what was your response? What response did you get?
What response did we get from him? He was very receptive. We gave him yellow roses and sunflowers, a bouquet, and we gave him the petition that was beautifully presented and wrapped. And it was a moment of, I think he understood that we were very sad about what had happened to his country and what's still happening to his country. But he did understand that we realize it's happening to our country and to many others as well, that this is a global issue, that we know because of what happened in Chernobyl that this is affecting people worldwide. And by stopping the burning of the radioactive rubble, we feel that he now understands that that's something at least proactive that they can do now to avoid making the situation far worse. And he said that he would convey our concerns to his higher-ups in Tokyo, to the powers that be there, so that hopefully here in San Francisco at this consulate, we've helped all of the other petitioners all over the world that have been part of this petition movement to stop the burning of the radioactive rubble and the dumping of the ash.
We just had a very moving experience with Mr. Iwata at the Japanese consulate. It's hard to even put it into words what happened up there, because it was a moment of people sharing feelings about what happened and the ongoing accident at Fukushima. And he responded with tears. he said he understands this issue very well, that his own grandparents were, what I think he said was that his own grandparents and his parents, his wife's grandparents, were nuclear bomb survivors in Japan. It was a little bit hard to understand all the words. Is that what you understood, Mary Beth?
Yeah,
We sat there, everyone, in a moment of silence, just with tears, and with our petition sitting there in the middle of the table with yellow roses on it. And it was just one of those moments that we never expected to have that kind of rapport, conversation
and
there.
And deep sharing.
It was a really beautiful meeting.
It was.
So worthwhile, I felt it.
Yeah, I mean,
felt it so deeply.
He said, if I believe what I understood from his comments, that he himself personally feels very strongly about this, and he would do whatever he could to convey the message. He understood what we were asking, and I cried, and he cried, because it's such an overwhelming challenge to deal with, and he knows what it's doing to people and what it's doing to the children. So I believe we did the best we could, and that he will convey a heartfelt message to the hierarchy in Japan from us.
He said he would send the message to Tokyo today. The message from our letter and from the petition, that it would go today.
I don't know that we would find an American official that would weep. Okay. And I think that American officials have every good reason to weep. Number one, Fukushima. Those Mark I boiling water reactors were manufactured by GE and sold knowing they would affect them. And number two, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I don't think we're going to see any American officials weep. That's all I have to say.
I came today because I wanted to support the group in the efforts to protect the children of Japan and children everywhere around the world that's being affected by the radiation from Fukushima. It's very obvious that tests have been done, and radiation has been found in the United States, and so the Fukushima plant has not been solved. The problem hasn't been solved. There's still radiation being emitted. So what is the answer? I thought that the Japanese consulate was very, very kind, and I also felt that he experienced his own loss. His grandfather passed away from the radiation, and so I believe that he really understood the fears and the worry that we have for our children and others around the planet, and for those in Japan.
We are in the process right now, the Fukushima Fallout Awareness Network, of delivering a letter to Dianne Feinstein, which is simultaneously being delivered on behalf of FAN to Senator Feinstein in Washington, D.C., literally in minutes. Diane D'Arrigo of Nuclear Information Resource Service and Cindy Folkers of Beyond Nuclear are presenting the same letter, urging Senator Feinstein for full cooperation in protecting our food inspection budget for 2012. And in conjunction, we're asking Senator Boxer again to immediately hold the hearings for congressional oversight into what's happening with our food supply. We need safe monitoring of our food immediately. And so her letter is also being served to her by our group at 2:30 today. So we're all working at this all together. It feels great. West Coast, East Coast, all combined.
Good.